And we are live. We are live. How is the sound? Whoa, where is the sound coming from? Okay. That's good, that's good. The music okay? You can hear the background music? There we go. Okay. okay, okay. Alright. Welcome, welcome to today's very special stream. Okay. Today we are going to do what all of the YouTubers use as a cop-out content farm, and that is doing tier lists. Okay, wait, hold on. Let me add to dictionary of our death wish. And today's tier list is based off the roguelike that I just released. Okay, for those who do not know about this game, this is a roguelike I made. Okay, the product is basically all of the content that I have for my main title, Starscribed. But since I have so much combat stuff already fleshed out, I'm just right now doing all of the story cutscenes. I figured it would be a good idea to turn all of my combat features into a roguelike, and people can start playing it before I release the story mode. Okay, and it turns out there ended up being a lot of depth to how a player can choose between 8 starting characters. Okay, as you know, 8 combination 2 gives you 28, which means we have 28 starting combinations, and that is not to include our starting bonus items you can choose and the starting hazard area you can choose for your first circle. So the possibilities are enormous. Plenty of things for you to choose from. And today we are going to rate every one of these combinations in the order of S rank for surefire, which means we will do well if you pick this. Next one will be A for arduous. Okay, our arduous is kind of like it is a really good pair, but it has a lot of caveats. Maybe the execution is high. Maybe you need a specific setup to be successful. There is like one very niche, and if you manage to roll into that build, it suddenly becomes extremely overpowered. So it can be really good, but it doesn't come easy. Unlike the S rank where you just pick it, you will be fine. Okay. B will be for balanced. Okay, be it difficulty, be it fun, be it difficulty, be it execution, it's around the center. Okay, not too difficult, not too strong. If you play it well, if you play your cards correctly, you will get far, but don't expect anything too explosive. C rank, challenge. This is for those who kind of want to, not rely on the easy way out. So high chance you will be a pair that doesn't have any sustain, requires a lot of execution, requires a lot of gears to set up. And our D rank, the worst pair. Okay, funnily enough, the game has been there's so many people that have played this game all the way to the end and fought the final boss, and can play it so well that from their playthrough, I have managed to concoct a very, very balanced cast of 8 characters. So any of the pair will be able to do, will be able to beat the game. There is no pair that is like, oh, it just doesn't work. Okay, every pair is viable, but our D rank, like its description, you pick it, you are in for trouble. Okay, I'll explain further why some of these pair are so difficult to play. Okay, let's start with just the order that we have here randomized. I don't know how they are put when I uploaded the pictures. So let's go for the first one. First one, we have Kaylee and Begonia. Okay, Kaylee and Begonia, okay, are two of our lesser characters in terms of tankiness. As we all know, Kaylee is the most frail party member of the 8, but she boasts a huge amount of damage. Okay, and Begonia, with the introduction of our new level 5 flow skill, the one that she does, the breakdance that I just added in, can replicate the damage that her ally does. Which means if Kaylee is setting up for a huge big fireball, that damage can be essentially doubled or even tripled thanks to Secret Lotus breaking the enemy. Okay, so you know what, let me do a demonstration here. Okay, so we have Begonia, a level 5 with our secret item. Our secret item as in our item that unlocks the 5th level flow. Okay, so we have okay, let's switch off the sound for this. Why do I have Rook here? Rook, get off my party. Okay, there we go. Okay, do we have it here? There we go. So, for example, we are playing Begonia and Kaylee is setting up for a big damage, and Begonia has our secret flow here, and Kaylee can cast something like a Havoc. So essentially, if the Secret Lotus managed to break the dummy, allowing us to do critical hits like this and doubling whatever damage is done next, okay, the Havoc follow-up is... Okay, let's see how much damage this does. Okay, it does 855. At the end of the turn, it takes another 427. Okay, so that is the kind of damage that, despite Begonia not being able to do a lot of damage by herself, if paired with a very strong attacker, can increase the damage by a lot without having to invest in any offensive stats on Begonia herself. With that said, okay, this pair has a little bit of a trouble getting started. Okay, what do I mean by that? Kaylee is kind of like a win more character with her Brave engine, essentially wins you more. The more she exploits the weakness, the more times she stuns and breaks the opponent, the more times she can do more damage. So if at any chance, at any time, you fall behind, it's very difficult for you to recover with these two characters. The good thing is that Begonia has pretty good self-sustain, okay? But there is one very special build where you play Kaylee as a tank, okay? So I'm going to put them in the A tier, because if you play Kaylee as a tank, the funny thing is she can do a lot of damage while guarding, while her Demon Book Vatisva is attacking, and Kaylee can use her Mesmerize to redirect hits onto Kaylee while she's blocking. So making it into like a pseudo taunt character. If you manage to set that up, you can actually get a lot of chip damage through just the passive hits of Kaylee's special attack with the Demon Book. So we go into 8 here. Next we have Melody and Kaylee, our two spellcasters. Anytime we have Melody in our party simply means that we have reliable amount of healing. Okay, but this pair is going to be very difficult to fight simply because for Melody to be able to heal, her allies have to be the one taking damage, which means Ailey here has to take all of the damage. If you do not have the chance to set up that well, by the time Melody gets to heal, Katie is like low health and she have to defend. So you're gonna end up in the cycle of just trying not to die. Okay, and we need to make progress. As you know, in Starscribed, playing defensively all the time is going to get you into a heap of trouble. So Melody and Katie goes into C tier. Next we have Nishka and Begonia. Nishka, our planned 8th character, is finally in the game after so long. Okay, welcome Nishka to the gang. And Nishka, despite primarily being a pierce damage dealer, is capable of switching into force and rend damage because of her weapon switch mechanic. One problem of this pair is that they are going to lack a lot of like big damage. Okay, Nishka does have some big damage, Begonia does have some big damage, but they are all tucked away in their flow skills, which means it is not entirely reliable to plan around them. So maybe let me think. They do possess a very good variety of coverage, because Nishka can cover almost all of the physical side, while Begonia, with the correct equipments, can cover all of the magical side. But you know, when your coverage is very good but you don't excel at any one thing, you end up, you know, really depending on your situation awareness, your judgment calls, and how lucky you get to have the equipments needed to cover all of the weaknesses. So this is a very B tier. You might do well. You might just end up with Begonia having all green flow armors, and then you stuck with something that is not weak to wind, and all of a sudden... Okay, that was a bad example, okay, because Nishka can do wind damage. Maybe you start with all red armor, red flow armor, and Nishka and Begonia end up not being able to do any fire damage, you know. So, and without good coverage for certain elements, and their base attack won't do that much damage, they might just get, you know, ran over before they get to their flow skill. So they go into balance. Next up we have Rook and Melody. Okay, Rook and Melody, very interesting pair. Because Rook, if you manage to get some taunt skills on him, basically getting the Guardian augment job, you can make this work. However, the thing is, for that to work well, why not just play, you know, some other pair that I will talk about later. Okay, so Rook has very, very strong physical attack, and is a character that excels when you are sort of behind, because he can deal scaling damage when the opponent is not broken. So if you have a fresh enemy that just got off break but you haven't had the chance to do enough damage, his level 2 judgment is able to do some of that work for you. But having both character excel when you are losing means that you might have a run that is very slow. Okay, so you start the battle, you can't do much, you have to let the opponent hit you until you are low health, then you can start doing the damage. And then you have to also allocate some turns for Melody to heal back up. Then, you know, it turns like a 3.5 hour run to more like a 5 hour run. Okay, so can work, but can be a little bit of a hassle. Next up we have Varys and Melody. Okay, Varys is a character that, you know, difficult to play, and a lot of times things can go out of your control. Sorry about that. Okay, so Varys and Melody. The whole gimmick of Varys is that a big attack is coming your way, you can deflect it and take no damage anyway. So having a healer around for a character who does not need to be healed if you play it well, kind of awkward, because what if Varys just never get attacked and all of the hits goes on Melody? Varys won't be able to do his damage for countering, and Melody won't have enough Brave to allocate to damage. So this is a very awkward pairing. So challenge. For them to work, you have to think outside of the box. Maybe to make Varys into like a tank. Okay, it's gonna have a pattern here. If you have Melody around, your other character is be the tank. Make the other character a tank and it will work. Okay. Or you can transform both of them into a full-out offensive character. So Melody, what healing? I don't know what healing is. Blast them with Luminatio. Next up we have Nishka and Katie. Okay, this is a very interesting pair. Naturally, Nishka and Katie covers everything. Okay. Katie has all 3 elemental coverage, plus her normal attack is Might. And Nishka can cover Mind, Force, and Rend. So the only thing that is missing coverage is Light and Darkness. So if you can find some gemstones that covers that, you are golden. Everything can be broken. Okay, so this is actually a very strong pair. Paired up with the fact that if you are ramping up your offenses very, very strongly, you don't even need to heal Nishka because she has passive lifesteal. The only thing is, if you come across something that you can't just brute force through it, it might be a little bit of a problem, especially when you run dry. But in most of the times, the fact that Nishka starts with full Brave as her Brave engine is going to cover for a lot of the awkward situations where you need Katie to set up. And of course, you can always do the funny thing of getting Spell Thief on Nishka and turn 1 donate all Brave to Katie and let Katie go to town with every single enemy. So this is our first S tier, Nishka and Katie. Great early game, great scaling, great late game, great coverage. Just be careful not to get blown up because you forgot to defend with Katie. Next, Soul and Katie. Okay, this is a pair that if you play it very safe, it's very easy to play. You just guard with Soul, block all the hits, and then use Katie to do damage, rinse and repeat. Done deal. Okay. Can be a little bit stale, but is very effective. One small problem for this pair is that how are you going to heal Soul? Okay, you have to find time to heal Soul, and those turns are the awkward turns. So if you manage to get a very good war prints on gears that allows you to have sneak in some turns to heal up, so you have a very rinse and repeat, easy to play pair. Easy to play pair. Okay, I put them in the arduous, maybe 8 here. Is it Ghost S tier? 8 here? Man, I can't decide. 8 here will be more accurate. What would be the most big challenge for this pair? I think we can have good coverage here, right? So have good pierce coverage if she goes to sword arts with the soldier stance, and he can do light damage. So actually, this is a very good pair. Okay, another S tier. Okay, looking like our Haley is doing very well in the high tiers. Next up, our two big boys, Soul and Rook. Okay, here we have a very fun pair because one of them is straightforward offense, one of them is straightforward defense. Okay, the only weakness is that they will have very poor magical coverage. Rook does have some ice damage, but it's not his go-to form of damage. So if you come across something that needs some magic coverage and is very strong against physical, you might run into a wall. However, this is the most Mesh A party. Okay, and we also have the gimmick of Rook's starting weapon Shelter, adding armor, adding armor to Soul, and armor on Soul, which means that Soul can use his Omega Spirit Shield to, shield crash into enemy, which allows him to bypass defense and do a lot of cheat damage into the game. So if you're in for that kind of gameplay, this is quite a fun starting pair. Next up is our prologue duo, Begonia and Soul. Okay, everybody loves Begonia and Soul after they fight the spiders. These two pair, very standard, not too much to talk about. One defense, very good at defending, one very good at assisting, and Soul does have quite strong or normal attack for Begonia to support. So with Begonia, the thing about Begonia is she is capable of lowering the attack of the enemy, which means Soul doesn't need to be on the guard all the time. And Begonia with her dodge skills can also alleviate some of the job that Soul has to do. So the pair ends up being, you have to play them in a way that you don't fully use their kits. So Soul will end up being like a full-on attacker, and Begonia will be there to support the attacker. However, Soul, having been reworked yet again, is capable of transitioning into a damage dealer. So this is actually pretty good, balanced. Next up, we have Begonia and Rook. Okay, Begonia and Rook, I would say, is strange, but can work because Begonia has Flummox, and she can shave off the break shield. But Rook doesn't care about break shields. His judgment does a lot more damage if the opponent has a lot of break shields. So the one good thing about this pair is that if you can get skills that lightly hits your own character, because Rook is quite slow and Begonia usually goes first because she's just so fast. She can use some self-hitting moves to trigger Rook's passive, giving Rook basically 30% boost on the turns that you want to attack, that is pretty good. That is pretty good. Okay, so I guess we have another pair that goes into the balanced. You're gonna see a trend of Begonia being around the middle tier because she's designed to be a balanced character. Next one, Girl Club, Melody and Begonia. Okay, Melody and Begonia is different case from Melody and Rook because Rook has a lot of straightforward damage they can do, but Melody's damage is very limited. It's all magical, light, and now that I added the fire damage to her, that's all she can get. So with Begonia's second flow skill being fire damage as well, we have double up on fire. So if you come across enemy who's weak to fire, good for you. You completely destroy it. But if the opponent is not weak to fire, then you are stuck with a pair that will do no damage. Okay, so we have our might be a challenge. You might run into a brick wall. Okay, so if you are playing this too, you might want to use the minecart to change the hazard area before you go into the hazard area to make sure that you don't go into the fire area, and then you will be much more consistent. Okay, but that costs money, so having to invest on money to make sure you don't end up in a dead end is kind of a downer. Next up, Nishka and Rook. Nishka and Rook. The good benefit of these two pairs is that Rook have a lot of status effects in Daze and Confuse. So if you can have Nishka be in her knife form, you can actually stack Confuse indefinitely by continuously attacking. And when Heart Diver comes up, you can extend whatever status you have on them to 9 turns. And it will change the course of battle into a stack status and then defend. And however, when you defend with Nishka, she don't get her life steal, so we will come into a bit of a problem regarding sustain. So if you intend to burn the enemy and you use burn damage, you need to find a way to recover back the damage you take while you let the burn down the enemy. However, you can kind of do it with poison. So Toxic Drench on Nishka, defend while you stack more status effects on the enemy with Rook and Heart Diver, and slowly build up your stats until the fight is super unfair for the opponent. Okay. So for those who doesn't know, status effects in this game has a huge effect on the opponents. Very infrequently you will find that enemy is immune to a bunch of statuses. Some of them are like very obvious, like undeads are immune to curse, these kind of things. A lot of times the bosses can be made much more manageable if you stack some status on them. Next, Soul and Nishka. Okay, Soul and Nishka, very strong physical presence. A little bit limited on the magical side. Lost my train of thought there. And they also suffer from the problem of when Soul is guarding, Nishka doesn't get to what to say? Actually no, this is fine. You can have Nishka take some hits, and when it's time for Nishka to heal up, you can have Soul Guard while Nishka heal up and attack. So we can get quite good tempo out of this these two. What can Nishka skill offer with Soul? I guess it's just solid. being a solid party. Okay, not much to talk about here, just really solid. Next up, we have Varys and Kaylee. Okay, two of the highest offensive parties with very unreliable sustain. And because they have no way to ensure opponent target somebody, you really have to look out for animus. So if the opponent targets Kaylee, you have to waste a turn defending. You have to find a chance where the opponent actually targets Varys. You know for sure to unleash your attacks. So this is very, very volatile. Okay, I won't say this is a bad pair. You can do absurd amount of damage just by performing well with your counter timing and your inputs for Varys, while managing the situation and amount of stacks. But this is what I have with Kaylee. So this is, you can do a lot of damage. However, the game plan of Kaylee is to break the enemy and then do a lot of critical hits on a broken enemy by exploiting their weakness. While Varys is more of when the enemy is acting, you dodge their hits and you waste their resources. You don't really care about whether they are broken or not. And sometimes you don't even want the opponent to be broken. Can you imagine, like, you are about to counter a big hit and use a Steel Salutation to do like thousands plus damage, and you accidentally broke the opponent with Kaylee, and all of a sudden you did, instead of 1000 damage, you did 150. Okay, so this is our first D tier. Okay, play this if you have a Death Wish, because one mistake and it's bye bye. You are getting wiped out. Next is Begonia and Varys. Okay, same deal. Begonia also tries to disrupt the opponent and using Swordbreaker to lower the damage of the opponent. It doesn't really matter when Varys can full counter them. Okay, and if the opponent has a huge ganging up on you, the Swordbreaker is not going to make much of a difference. Okay, like 4 enemies attacking Varys to stack the Infinite Iris, that's fine. But reducing the damage of one of them, not so much useful. So, same thing. Okay, this is going to be very, very awkward to play. Next, Varys and Nishka. Okay, Varys and Nishka. I think we are going to have a trend where Varys is just always at the bottom tier. Okay. Here, because Nishka doesn't need to defend if you're doing offensive pressure correctly, this is a party that has very good tempo. Okay, instead of trying to find places to defend, you just go on full attack. Okay, once you see the enemy is targeting Varys, Nishka can switch into her bow mode and just pound that attack. Okay, and if the opponent is targeting Nishka, she can go into, if you set it up correctly, you can go into Hunter's Mark dodge and have Varys get ready Yojimbo, so the attack hits the dodge, deals no damage, and the Yojimbo Yomi does damage. So a lot of very niche things you can do, but a little bit tricky. Okay, you gotta be good. You gotta be good at this. Next, we have the two big boys of Delancia, Varys and Rook. Varys and Rook. How do I put this? Okay. They both have very reliable way to increase their power stages. Rook with Warpath and Varys with the Tactical Sharpening. Okay, how to do Tactical Sharpening? You skip your turn while you have flow. Okay, so You let the thing pass while you have flow, and you will go into a counter stance that if countered will raise your power stage by a lot. So coupled with Rook's flow, you can actually rack up a lot of power stage before you attack, and then by then your Rashomon can do up to 3k damage. Okay, that is pretty good. Okay, so for them, they have this very good game plan of stacking up power stage, and both can use armor very well. So if you manage to find some war prince that compounds your armor stats, this will do very well. Okay, next we have Soul and Varys. Soul and Varys, very awkward. You block with a Soul. Somebody, when they played my game very early, when they were fighting this creature called Laos, I tried to do a counter with Varys, but then he also defended with Soul. So Soul blocked the hit and Varys couldn't counter. Okay, there's the classic self-defeating combo of trying to score our own goal. Okay, so very awkward, not recommended, but have solid stats for you to just you know, press buttons through. Okay, main problem with this pair is they both doesn't have true self-heal. Varys has a skill that can add some armor, but it's one of the weakest defensive skills out there. Usually you want it to be used to get double damage, okay, from the Appel, where you time your special guard command forward to get double damage instead of applying armor, sorry. Okay, now we have the two sitting next to each other. Okay, this is Zexy and Kaylee. Okay, this is a very strong pair. Okay, Zexy has a Vice Shock, which allows him to draw the attention away from Kaylee for a short period of time. So you can use this to very reliably set up for Kaylee. And now they have reworked Zexy. His Vice Shock is free. As long as you don't go into rage, you can just spam Vice Shock and make sure Kaylee is not being targeted by anybody. You know, so this is a very good pair. Zexy has a self-heal. You can use Moon Whisper to heal yourself after you take enough damage. So you can make him into like a bodyguard for our Kaylee right here. Okay, look, Kaylee is on the top right there because damage is good. You know, if you can protect Kaylee well, it's just good to have huge coverage and huge damage. Next up is another very, very powerful pair. How powerful? We have the two healers of the game with each other. Zexy's Brave Engine is when he gets hit himself, and Melody's Brave Engine is when the ally gets hit, which means when Zexy Vice Shocks opponent and somebody hits Zexy, both of them trigger their Brave Engines, which means at the course of a battle, it is so easy for them to build up meter. It's like free. You don't need to invest other time, like you don't have to be like a Rook, be like Varys, skip a turn or do suboptimal actions to get some Brave. You can just play the game, you get tons of Brave for free. Okay, so this is just easy, and they have a very good coverage of light and darkness, which means if anytime you face somebody that has one of these weaknesses, high chance they are weak to either one of them, you will have good coverage. Okay, next we have Begonia and Zexy. Okay, Begonia and Zexy changes the dynamic around than these two pairs just now. Okay, just now you want Zexy to tank while with these two you want Zexy to tank while Kaylee does damage. Here is the opposite. You want Begonia to mark the opponent with her special attack, and you want Zexy to launch powerful single hit attacks, either with Rage Art or with his Shura Ryuseiken, his 5th level secret flow. Okay? Very good pair. Very good pair. As long as you can figure out how that combo works. If you can't find a good way to okay, I'll show you what I mean. Go back to our again with Begonia, because Begonia's level, I just want to show it off. Okay. Okay, let me get player smart. Where is the one that adds? Aha, there we go. Where's High Caster? There we go. Okay, so this is what I mean. Okay, so Zexy, if you can get him to do his calm emotions. Oh no. Okay, hold on. I have a better thing. I have a better way to do this. Get Begonia to have Spell Thief Mastery. Oh, that's not the one. That's the one. This is the. Okay, so we have. So this is the setup. You want Begonia to have some spare. You want her to have some spare Brave so that she can Brave Link over to Zexy, while Zexy stack up some extra Brave with Calm Emotions. So we, for example, let's just get gut and get some more Brave. Oh crap! I think I spent Brave. Whoops! I can't play my own characters. Okay. Do not use Shadow Step. Not use Shadow Step. Okay, so once Zexy is at full Brave, he's going to go into Rage. Okay, so now that he's in Rage, you're gonna get him to calm his emotions, which will double his max Brave for 8 turns, so that it is more difficult for him to go into Rage. But at the same time, it allows his secret flow to scale in a crazy amount. Okay, but how do we want? Is you want to donate it after he goes, which is a little bit awkward. Let me see if I can. Okay. Now, this is like a scenario based. So, for example, Begonia defense while Zexy go into Rage, and he does his Rage Art, Suppress Anger. Hey, I'm doing well. Okay, check out my tier list of my characters. So now that he does his Calm Emotions, you see that his max Brave is at 286. Amazing stuff. So what you want to do with Begonia now, if she has the Spell Thief Mastery, is you can use Brave Link, donate to Zexy, and Zexy go into Shura Ryuseiken the next turn. Okay? So you donate that Brave. Okay. And once Zexy has like a bunch of Brave, right? And happens that both of them are in flow. I'm not playing favorites. I'm actually doing a tier list of how players have used them in the past. Okay, all of the players who have played the mode to the end, and I have rated them based on how well they do as a playthrough. Okay, this is strictly objective. Okay, no favorites. Okay, you will find out who is in the S tier because players like Big Squirrel, Wrath of Wood, D7, all of them beat the game with the same 2 pairs. There is a reason why. And there is also a reason why I actually nerfed them and reworked them all the way so to make it a little bit more interesting and give incentive for players to play the other characters. Okay, so now look, Zexy is at 162. I think we can go a little bit more. So let's get Begonia to donate a little bit more. And Zexy just gets some more Brave. Okay, next turn should be good. Oh, that's good, that's good. Okay. So now Zexy is at 286 and his Secret Flow just does so much damage if he has high flow. This is a very setup scenario. It's very difficult to achieve this scenario, but if you can, this is the result. So Begonia, oh crap, I don't have time for Secret Flow. So I'm just going to do the normal one. And then we get into shooters. So Begonia will scale 25% more on the next hit that does. And Shuraliusuke is going to do crazy boatload of damage. And it's going to be amplified by Begonia's normal damage. And this is the damage it does. 6,000. Yeah, as compared to if you were to do it normally. Okay. Now let's just do it normal way. Okay. And Begonia, despite her normal attack, okay, just do normal attack. Her normal attack does 100, and Zexy's normal attack does 146. And Begonia's normal attack does this, while Shuraliusuke with only 100 Brave is going to do about maybe 1.4k, I think. Okay, I think it's 1.4k. 1.9k, that's pretty good. Oh, that's because it's broken. Okay, so 1.9k, and the 1.9k is being hold on. Okay, and the 1.9k is going to be amplified by 25% because of Begonia's secondary attack. And all of a sudden, she's doing 500 damage with her basic attack instead of just 100. So that is the power of these 2 pair. Therefore, we put them in Arduous. If you can get this setup done, you can do so much damage. Okay, but not always, maybe. Okay, depends on how good you are. You gotta get good. Next, we have the 2 tough boys, Zexy and Rook. Okay, Zexy and Rook, they are the one that just gonna punch. Lots of force damage, but they kind of get stuck if they need something else. The good thing about Zexy is that you can, during Rage Art, do some rand damage to cover for some of the damage types, and Rook at level 5 with the Secret Flow can do a little bit of wind damage. On the coverage part, it's not so good, but they are very good defensively because you can just keep healing up Rook with Zexy, and this goes into a balanced, very easy to play. As long as you can make up for their lack of coverage, they will do just fine. Okay, next up is our Lunan pair, our 2 little doggies. Okay, Zexy and Nishka. Okay, they cover each other's weaknesses very well. Okay, Zexy heals and guards, while Nishka can deal some disruption and apply negative statuses. The only problem is that with the two of them in the same party, you run into the problem of you might end up applying Shadow Step or Shadow Form twice, which doesn't do anything. Okay, so you get Zexy to do a Phantasma do, you get the Shadow Form, very nice, and then you forgot that, oh, I'm doing Shadow Brights with Nishka, and all of a sudden you applied the Shadow Form again, and now you have just wasted a bunch of Brave. Okay, so a little bit awkward. Okay, so I'm going to put them in challenge. They don't really support each other well, but they can be a very powerful pair if you are trying to ensure an enemy is always cursed, because the two of them are the only character that can reliably curse the enemy. So if you really need curse, these two are to go to. But very rare do you need cursed. The only pair that the only enemy that is very susceptible to curse is on the second circle. The boss of the second circle, when you fight in the arena, they are very good candidate to be cursed, and because a lot of their powerful support skills is what defines them. Okay, so these two will do pretty well in the arena fight and maybe on the fourth circle, but other than that, if the curse is not very useful for their battle, you might run into some problems. Okay, next up is our two tank buddies, Zexy and Soul. Okay, awkwardly enough, when you guard with Soul, you end up not allowing Zexy to build up Brave. Okay, it can be quite important for Zexy to not go into rage, because you need to heal, or you can't heal when you're in rage, when you need to do some support stuff. So you can actually use Soul to ensure that that turn Zexy doesn't get hit, and you can go into your game plan. So it's using a turn to do something that you otherwise can be done with just good planning. Okay, so these two pair, the good thing is that they have very good coverage on light and dark. Okay, Zexy has Force, and Soul has Rend and a little bit of Pierce here and there. So they have very good coverage, minus the elements. They have no elemental coverage. They have good Rend, Pierce, Force, light and dark. Okay, so good coverage. I'll go with balanced. Next up is our Rook and Kaylee. These two pair is what you want to do when you just want to stack damage and really explode the enemy with raw power. No setups, no Begonia support, no double of MP to do the Zexy's big punch Liu Seiken. You just want to every turn press that pyro casting, every turn press that overswing. Okay, so this is fine. Like the most brain dead party. Okay, only problem is you need to be careful when you are healing, because their heal is more situational and not very strong. However, the two of you know what, I'm going to raise a tier, because these two can apply a physical reflect and magical reflect if you play them correctly. Actually, there is a higher level of execution. And look, Kaylee is dominating the high tiers. Watching trailer for KOF 15. Man, I don't know, man. KOF 14 and 15, they just don't look that good. I cannot take the 3D graphics seriously. Just, you know, when they make the 3D graphics, but they still animate it as if the limbs are moving in frames like a sprite art. So there's a lot of disconnecting motions, and the eyes just feels weird. Okay, when it's in sprite art, when a few frames skip, your mind can fill in the gaps with your imagination. But it's 3D. Just make it smooth. You can still have the same frame data. You can still put in the same hitbox, but don't jump the animations. It doesn't look very good. Oh, D7 dropping in with the casual Asians making things more complicated. Well, you know your boy. I like to raise the bar with this kind of things. Yeah. D7 just wants to play more Mesh A into knock games. Grind their EXP and then come into a boss that does 10 times damage it's supposed to do, and then you KOs, and then you... Damn, this is not a bad game. No more of this, D7. We strive to do more. Okay? We strive to be more complicated. Next! We're almost done! Next is Nishka and Melody. Okay, Nishka and Melody. If you want very stable sustain, you go with these two pair. Nishka, press attack, get some heals. Melody, press mending hands, get some heals. But then you can also build these two into this crazy beast of with endurance. Because what's happening? I can do crossover. Nightmare Arena, give me a crossover. But you have to draw. Okay. Here's my challenge. Colo Coco, if you can draw a character in the style of Starscribed sprites, I will include it as a guest character, as a crossover character. So go up your art game. Okay, back to Nishka and Melody. Some of you might not know, but the poison status that Nishka deals draws damage from her endurance stats. So, and then you also receive more healing from your endurance stats. So this pair, you can actually just get all the endurance, and you just heal yourself endlessly. You cannot die, and then you just poison. You just use Nishka's Toxic Drench, and you do super amount of damage that cannot be blocked by armor with poison. Just poison. You don't even hit them. You just poison and you heal yourself. Poison and you heal yourself, and then you just watch them slowly, turn by turn, wither away. Okay? So this pair actually quite funny if you know how the poison mechanics works in this game. Nobody ever gets art A in art. You know how all of the art teachers are super hipster. They see a good art, they go, this has the lines are too straight, is too conformist. B. This art is very pedestrian. It is a copy of Rembrandt's style. B. Okay, even you draw the best day, you get B. Okay. The only time you can get good result from art is if you enter competitions. You don't get A's in art for in school. Oh. Better put it back in. Whoops. Never mind. We are running out of characters. How do I put him back down? Bro. Wait. These guys are Death Wish. Where's my... Oh no, I lost my... Look what you have done. Okay, they're here. I can't put it back down. What the hell? Lousy site. Terrible site. D7 trying to spoil the market here. What instrument did you play in band? While he's figuring out what instrument he's playing, podium up here is Zaxi, and this is our bickering pair. A lot of hijinks from the two of them. Okay, but as a pair, they actually are terrible. You want Varys to counter, and Zaxi is pulling the enemy away with Vice Shock. You know, very awkward pairing. Okay, you have to play them differently of how they are built for them to excel. And that is the challenge if you play the Renegade side of the story. So, challenge. Last one, but not least. Last one. Oh, D7 plays the trumpet. Next, Miles Davis, man. Give me some Miles Davis. Give me some Louis Armstrong. Yeah. Skyglow here plays the clarinet. Okay. Last character on the list. And that is our most played pair. Melody and Soul. Everybody that have played my Age of Reality challenge played these two characters. And you know why? Because it's really just tank the damage, heal it back up, and auto attack. And before the rework of the current version, Soul is very overtuned because he has a very good guarding ability. They just straight up block damage for Melody. And while he's blocking damage for Melody, Melody's Brave engine kicks in and gets a bunch of Brave, which she can use to heal. And it goes into this cycle of you can never lose, because Soul is so tanky and Melody gets so much Brave and she can heal it back. So you know what happens, okay? But now a lot of changes has been done. Melody's heal Brave cost will ramp up if she keeps using it, and you have to take a turn and spend some break points to reduce the Brave cost back to normal. So she can't just spam the heals. And Soul, his standard stance is on the farmer stance, will not be able to protect allies at higher health. In order for you to have Soul protect the allies at a higher health, you have to switch to the paladin stance. That means you have to use Spirit Shield, or you use the gear skill that he comes with to change stance. And while in that stance, you have lower attack. So if you want to devote this strategy into guard with Soul and heal with Melody, you can still do it, but your damage output will be lowered. Before the update, when everybody played the game, Soul's damage output is so high, it doesn't lose anything to guard with Soul. And when you have a chance, you just whack. It's too easy. It's too easy. So this is like the best pair for people to play because it's just so easy to play. Not to mention, this two abides by the traditional JRPG formula the most, as the knight and the priest. Okay, the warrior and the white mage. Yeah, so most people are more familiar with how to play a JRPG, and they find more success with the traditionally good characters, tank and healer. All of the rest of the characters I made are like weird, not RPG kind of characters, and when people play it, you know, namely some players that just does not want to play the game my way, ends up just not having a good time. D7, are you going to just get out of bed in the morning just to come on my stream and grieve me? Okay, and that's it for the tier list of Age of Reality. Okay, gold out. Yeah, Varys is pretty confusing. You know what? Since we are at it, our tier list is done. Okay, we are going to go through some of the mechanics of Varus. Okay, let me grab my controller. There we go. Since we are here and E7 wants to know how to play Varus, we're gonna give it to. Okay, take a look at Varus. First, you see his skill is a counter. Okay, so it does nothing unless the opponent hits him. And now we have switched Banishing Beak into the first flow move. We no longer we have our Yomi as the flow move, because it always felt awkward, because when you get the flow, you can only use it that turn. And if the opponent is not attacking, if the opponent is attacking, your flow is completely wasted, which is very sad. So what you do is, I have moved Yomi to a normal Brave skill, and we moved Banishing Beak into his first Brave skill, and we rename it Rashomon. Rashomon, okay, we press the right key, this key over here, okay, this key, on the time of the sword hits. So you go ta ta ta. If you miss it, it will display as a miss. But then, if you hit, it will do a lot of damage. So it's like, really have to test. How do you know the timing? You see the words up here is in the rhythm of pop, pop, pop. So you can time it by looking at how the words appear. 1, 2, 3. There we go. See? That will be our new Rashomon. And the next skill is Seal Salutation. This is our counter. The special one counters magic, while the normal one counters physical. I can't really do it here. And then his normal attack, when you are ready, his normal attack doesn't do anything, but you see he gains these stats called EI. EI here. And when you have EI, you actually hit an additional time the next time you attack. And then on top of that, the second hit with EI can be timed to do even more damage by pressing forward. So you attack here. See? Now you do 2 attacks. But if you attack without EI, you only do 1. And this skill, your Yomi gives you a free EI when you use it. Wait, I didn't get EI. Oh no, I missed it. Can I not get? Okay, I didn't put it on the Omega version. Okay. So now if you attack and you time the forward. Oh, I missed it. Let's do it again. There we go. See, you get a critical for free. Okay. There will be a actual critical. Next one will be his guard. His normal guard is just normal guard like everybody, but his special guard, a pal, actually gives him shield, armor in this game. You get some armor, but if you press forward during the click, you instead of gaining armor, you gain a buff that is double damage. So you go defend here, and then you press forward. I missed. I know. I'm bad at my own game. There we go. See? Now you do this flash and you get the buff of Decisive Strike, which does double damage. And now if you have double damage and you go for Rashomon, which is a single hit, you actually get double Rashomon. What ta ta. 1282. See the damage? Beautiful damage. And this come from base Varus with absolutely no gears whatsoever. Okay? For his secret flow, Kaleido Slash, you just press damage. You just press the hits whenever you hear the sword slash. You get and damage. If you miss, you don't get any damage. I have my sound turned off so I can't time it very well. Yeah, like this. And if you hit all 9 times, you get a perfect image that does huge amount of damage. So that's how you play Virus. A lot of execution, a lot of decision making. One of the more tricky characters. Okay, while we are at it, let's also touch on the other difficult to play character. And that is our new Zexy. New Zexy is... Brave engine has been completely reworked by being anger point. Instead of building it normally, you can actually manually build it by using anger moves like a Vice Shock. You see, a Vice Shock is completely free now, but if you use it, you raise your Brave. You might think, oh, that's very good, right? But if you happen to raise your Brave into the maximum amount, which is 120 right now, what happens is that you go into Rage. You go into Rage, and he's depicted by his turning red. You can no longer do any of your normal moves, and you are forced to do a Rage art. Okay, let me demonstrate that again. Okay, let me do Dark Aura to build up the Brave. Oh, 119, come on. Okay, so he's max, right? And if you try to use his normal skills, you see, you can't use any of his skills now. You are forced to do a Rage art, which you can do something like this. Am I too late? I hit the time. And this is one of his Rage art. This is like a full fighting game input stuff. And also, if you notice, you lose a big chunk of health when you go into Rage. So not only can you not do your normal actions, you lose a bunch of health. So despite Rage art being very strong, I'll show you another Rage art here. This is the most complex inputs one, which is a 3 hit, and you get to store the excess damage you do. If you try to do like other moves, you just straight up cannot do any of the other moves. So you go into this, and you go. There we go. So that is your Rage arts. So that is our new Zexy. Last one we'll go through that is a bit difficult is Kaylee. A lot of people still doesn't know how to play her. Even though the straightforward way of playing her is quite simple. Just cast the big spells. That one everybody knows. However, we have advanced mechanics like this, where you deploy Vatisva. Your special attacks will send the book out, and then the book will attack on his own every turn. So now you see, the book is away, and you can draw the book back to heal. Bring it back like this. So when you send the book out, what you're gonna see is that every time the book attacks, you will gain this secret stack of deploy Vatisva. So every time Vatisva attacks, you get more of these stacks. And once you in the mental note know that you have hit the opponent 3 times with the book, when you bring the book back, it's gonna heal Kaylee by a lot and grant her a stack of magic reflection. See that? So now, after you bring it back, we get a magic reflect. You can stack up to 5 times, and you can do a lot of damage with Xenosync as well. If you have 5 stacks, you can use it to do a lot of damage with the stacks. And also, the cool stuff is that, see, when you're blocking with Kaylee, so for example, you deploy Vatisva like this, you can just block with Kaylee. Just block. And after she block, the book will still attack. So this allows you to essentially defend and attack in the same turn. So you can continue to press the advantage while you are defending. You bring it back, it heals Kaylee for 500, and you get 2 stacks now with, now you have 2 stacks of Magic Reflect. So that is the advanced technique of Kaylee. The basic one is just, you know, cast your big pyro casting. This is a no-brainer. Now big skills like Havoc. Yeah, her brave skills is no-brainer. It's her normal skills that are a little bit tricky. So that is all of the difficult to control characters. Maybe I'll just go through the last one more character, which is the new one, Nishka. Okay, let's just go through the last character, Nishka. Okay, her being the newest character, there are some things that most people won't know. As you can see, we have this clip count, which tells you how many ammo is in her crossbow. You can fire all of them by mashing A with the special attack, and now all of them is shot out. And if you try to attack again, you will have no ammo. See? You have no ammo, you cannot attack. Instead, what you need to do is you have to reload with your guard command. And the trick is that you cannot defend yourself when you are using crossbow. You have to switch to your knife mode by doing the special defense, bring out the knife, and now she can guard. See? Now your normal guard is your knife. But then your attack is now changed to knife swings. Your special attack is like a Kage Bushi no Jutsu, Shadow Clones. It does not, enemy won't retaliate, and you can confuse them, making them harder to recover from fatigue. So this is Nishka. The cute thing about Nishka is her first skill is basically just 2 skills that you can use to switch into your next weapon without having to waste a turn guarding. So now I use her skill. If you look at this, Delta Munitions, if I do it on the special version, it will switch the weapon. I want to actually empty my clip now, and if I do the Omega version of Delta Munition, it's actually Bola Strike, and that brings my knife out. After you throw the Bola Strike, it brings a knife out. And if you look at my clip count, and I have an Outlaw Step. Outlaw Step is the state where she's holding her knife, and when your clip count is 0, you can actually load the knife into your crossbow and fire the knife out with your bank breaker. So this skill, when you are at this very specific time of no ammo and the knife drawn, you use this first free flow skill, you fire the knife out, and you will launch the knife into the enemy. Now if you see it, you have the enemy with the lodge state. And next thing is her where is it? Heart Diver. Usually this skill just extends the negative status by 5 turns. So if you have a bunch of negative status stacked on an opponent, confuse, poison, burn, curse, blind, whatever, all of them 5 more turns. Very, very strong. Most of you don't feel like status effects are that important in RPGs. In my game, status effects are very powerful. Okay? It's worth your time to apply them. But if you have the knife lodged, Heart Diver suddenly can do damage on top of extending status effects. So we dive in and we retrieve our knife. That does quite a lot of damage. Okay, Okay, Nishka's final skill is quite, I would say, it's cool looking but not very unique. It just blast enemy with the airship. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, if there's only one target, you will miss very often. But if there's like a lot of targets, it will hit all of the hits. So that's the thing. You can either bank on the airship not missing a single target and do a lot of damage. You can happen. It's actually possible for all, I think 10 hits. Is it 10 hits? 9 hits. 9 hits to hit. It's dope, right? Okay, let me show you the version that doesn't have the knife. So this is the version that doesn't have knife. He just does do like a shadow clone routine and then just extends the state. Okay? This is also one of the skills that I can actually extend the break. So if you want to extend your enemy's break by one more turn, you do hard diver and then it actually just refreshes the break. Yeah. Of course, this requires flow and brave. So if you can somehow get Nishka to continuously be in brave, in flow and have brave for some reason, you can actually just infinitely stun the enemy. I don't know if anybody could find a way to do that, but you can do it. You can do it. So Nishka has a lot of unique setup stuff. If you can manage to get that, it's going to be very cool. Now you can switch back to our crossbow mode. Oh, we need to reload. We need to reload. Okay. So if you use Bank Breaker with, oh, where is my camera? Frame rate mismatch? What? Why does it just disconnect for all of a sudden? So weird. Okay. Let's fire 2 arrows. 1, 2. Okay. So you see now they have 1 arrow left, alright? There is a way for you to do a quick reload by targeting the enemy with Hunter's Mark, which you can apply with other skills as well, like Bowler Strike and Hunt's Wind. Once the enemy has the Hunter's Mark, if you fire a normal attack, not the special one, you can actually reload your weapon afterwards. So if you look at Nishka right now, I have 1 clip left. But if I attack somebody with a mark, I do a tumble roll, I gain 1 instance of true dodge, and I also reload my weapon. So this is one way to reload your weapon without having to waste a turn. Another way is to just do a Bank Breaker. Bank Breaker will damage everybody, like an AoE pierce attack, and then it reloads your weapon, like this. So, I think that's about it. Not much more I can talk about other than some nuances about states. Maybe I can go through the states a little bit. Okay, that means you have to go into the... Okay, so I've actually added 2 more sub areas. Here, the guides are here. They will tell you some of the stuff that is lesser known. You can talk to them to talk about some stuff. And also, D7, something cool for you. We have Turbo Mode. You need to go and give Turbo Mode a try because that takes this game's combat system to the next level. turn-based combat, all of a sudden this is a real-time action game if you play in turbo mode. Okay, I might take my time to stream turbo mode once to see if it's balanced. What's up, Aziel? I'm actually ending my streamer. You always show up when I'm about to end. But I guess this is the time that you wake up, I guess. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so let's talk about states a little bit, because in my game the states are very different. Okay, the burn states returns a portion of the damage back to the attacker. So you burn them, it doesn't really say that, oh, they will take damage over turn. No, not that way. It's when they damage you, they take damage. So what you can do is you burn them and you let them hit you like a boss. Okay, after that you heal it back up. So if you have very reliable sustain, you can burn them and just let them, you know, hit you, and you just heal it back up. And that damage is unmitigated, so which means they can't block it, they can't reduce it through defense. It's really based off of the damage they do. Yeah, man. Next will be Frostbite. Frostbite basically doubles the rate at which people lose break shields through elemental weaknesses. So on fights where enemies has a lot of break shields and you want to reliably break it, you can hit them with an ice move that causes frostbite, even though they are not weak to ice, just to speed up the speed at which you can cause break. It applies to your party as well, especially when you're fighting the Winter Rider in the ice area. Be careful, you might get broken very frequently. Next will be Asphyxia. Yeah, my game being so complex, I kind of need to pull out this here. Okay, my only hope is that they will read the stuff I gave him. Like some of the streamers, I asked them to play the game, they don't read my skills, and then they say, why isn't this working? I was like, you know, and they kind of got angry at me pestering them to read my skills. All written there, boys, just read it. Asphyxia. Okay, this one reduce healing received, so it doesn't do anything unless you are trying to heal yourself. So sometimes you might get sucker punched by this, you know, you didn't know that you are affected by this. This always gets people, because they will be like, oh, I'm fine, this stage does nothing, and then when they want to heal, they waste their turn and they heal for like 7 HP. So you gotta be careful of this. When you have asphyxia and you know attack is coming, you should try to block it. You should not try to take it and heal up, because it won't work. Next will be blind. For those that are very fast on the fingers, they don't care. They will just input it anyway. But for those people who are starting out, they might get caught off guard by how fast this goes. Especially in the late game where there is more than 3 characters on screen. You're playing all 4 characters, and your 4th member gets blinded. You press start, and the 4th member just all the way down, and you lose your turn. You know, what you can do to combat this is you can put characters like Zaxi, Varys, or Melody at the 4th party slot, because they are less susceptible to that. A Melody being that she can act even though the thing has fallen off screen. She has infinite input time. Varys, if you miss the turn, he gets some brave. That's pretty good. And Zaxi always has full time. If you play the game, you realize that your input that sword thing that falls down, right? You know. Yes, the trick is to make them learn more, and I plan to add these like mini games where some random visitor will come here and challenge you with a mini game. Then you have to use a specific tool to beat him, and you get some rewards from it. That will be a good way to teach people how to use all this kind of stuff. Yeah, but I'm in my way. I'm on my way of implementing them, and I'm also going to inject it as a part of the narrative. It's just not like this NPC that asks you to do stuff. They are key characters that teaches you the game. For blind, you only have half the time to act, so you gotta be fast. Enemy will suffer the regular thing about missing their attacks. So you can just stack blind on the opponent and hopefully they miss on you sometimes, you know. It's a viable strategy. And the miss is very powerful because the enemy attacks once every 2 turns, you know, at most, you know, unless you're fighting some special boss that just go ham. If they do all the build up and they miss, you just basically gain 3 free turns. That's huge, you know. Curse on you, you know, you have that lightning thing where you line up a thing and then you input the special inputs, right? When you are cursed, your window for the special inputs is like this small, you know, so you have to really time it. And if you're trying to go for both flow and omega while you're cursed, you are going to waste a lot of time doing the input on that one character. And then once you've done it, you realize that you have no time to do the inputs for the second character. Your game plan falls apart and all of a sudden, game over, reset to do a new run. That's how curse gets you. On the curse on the opponent, just straight up blocks their support moves. So if they have things like a self boost, things like heals, things like, you know, change the scope to all targeting, all of them are blocked. They are not allowed to use it. So if you curse like a support enemy, high chance they're just gonna stand there and just. These are the standard enemy ones. Buff. This is cause their attacks to be stronger. This cause their attack to hit everybody. Okay, Bloodlust, all this. I think you can read it. All these are the unique ones that doesn't do much. Okay, Confuse. Confuse in my game doesn't hit your allies. That will be the lamest thing. Nobody likes Confuse. Okay, Confuse is just basically a worst stun. Okay, why do you need 2 stuns in the game? You just need 1. You don't need stun 1 and you don't need stun 2 that hits your own party member. You know, this it's not fun. It's not fun. Confuse in my game, you know, when the sword drops down, it comes from bottom, goes up instead. That's how confused it is. So you might be controlling your first character and your second character is confused. When you go to the second character, you see that, oh, my character's sword is still up there. I'm going to press down to speed up the falling, and you realize that it goes way up and it's gone. And it's gone. And you skip your turn. And you are there, end up scratching your head, confused on what's going on. That's confused. For the enemy, when they are confused, whenever try to recover their stamina, the little bar below their health where they use their skills, the reduction is the recovery is halved, which means they are going to go into fatigue much earlier. You can plan much better. Yeah, man. That's my game has a lot of states, but they all do something unique. You know, they're not just there to, you know, inject artificial difficulty. But the fights are based around this. You know, some fights are based around you have to deal with the blind, you have to do your actions quickly, and it never takes away control of you. You know, even days, your input thing disappears after a while, so you have to remember where it is, or you have to guess. You have to make you know, like try to think, oh, by this time, how far you have fallen. If I was to input my skill now, would it be normal version or the omega version? You know, it's increase the amount of decision making you do in an RPG game. And we all know how little decision making you do in an RPG game. You might think, oh, there's so many skills to choose from, this and that, this, that. That is a lie. Okay? You fire up any RPG game, you play all the Final Fantasy game, you will end up choosing the same skill every single time you play it. Who fires up FF6 and start using that Bio Blast move? Nobody. It's Bolt Beam. It's Bolt Beam. You do Bolt Beam. You know, you always just do the same skills. Next one is Overdrive. This is a boss mechanic. You can read up. True Dodge. This just straight up dodge one hit. And in my game, there is no chance-based dodge unless you deliberately blind the opponent. So every hit you can see coming, and every hit you can dodge it 100% of the time if you have the means to do so. and then we have some, you know, like the functional stuff. So that's I think about it. You know, if you want to play the game, go play the game. Okay, I've even made charts for you guys to see how the character works. You know, what they are good at, what they are weak at. You know, so you have an idea how to play the game. This is not a game where you mash buttons. You have to play it. Okay? Also, I think nobody used this. You can actually choose which hazard area you go to on your first circle. This is put here so that people doesn't have to constantly like reset to get a good run. Like for example, if you pick you pick 2 characters that does fire damage, and you want to go to the carrion box because most of the enemies are weak to fire there. You don't have to pick it, go there and see that you didn't get the area, and then you reset and you just keep doing the reset until you get it randomly. I think that's a waste of time. A lot of roguelikes does that. Waste your time. I don't want to waste people's time. So for the first area, you can choose your area. It's basically the same if the person just keeps resetting anyway. So let them choose. After that is free game, is all randomized, you have to adapt. Okay, I've also changed up the starting items. This is still very good, but nobody uses this. Like, this makes those very hard to play pairings viable. What do I mean by this? It's like, for example, if you play like a pairing of the impossible to play pairing of Kaylee and maybe Varys. It is overwhelming, and I want it to be overwhelming because the skill, the difficulty comes from you step by step overcoming the overwhelming sheer amount of information. All of the skills are there for the players. So what happens? You know what? Let me full screen this bad boy. Thanks, man. It looks good, right? Okay, so for example, I've picked this starting bonus that nobody uses because I say that this is good for early game and nobody wants to play early game stuff. But if you pick a pair that scales very well but does very poorly in the early game, this will be very good. So for example, if I get the Protector Sigil on Varys and the Offensive Sigil on Kaylee, all of a sudden Kaylee gets to have Rend, Pierce and Force coverage, and guess what? Wait. Her Brave Engine is when she's exploiting elemental weakness. So all of a sudden, she can exploit every weakness. You know, so we go into Dujogo, and the Dujogo is weak to Pierce, right? You know, we just use Deleter and we Deleter it. And now, after exploiting weakness, you see Kaylee now has 26 Brave. And now she can cast spells on turn 2. Oh, she survived? Yeah, see, all of a sudden, you have very strong early game. See, now Kaylee can get up to her powerful spells on much earlier turns. And otherwise, if she didn't have anything that any weakness you can apply on turn 1, it's gonna wait. She have to wait until like turn 4 or 5, or not 4 or 5, turn 3 or 4 to get going. which by then, the battle is already at a huge disadvantage. So here, cast more, delete her. This makes the early game of these two very difficult to play characters so much stronger, and then you can scale much stronger into the late game. And now, because you don't have to worry about defense, because you have such good, you can actually just get power bells, you can pump Haley with power bells if instead of trying to cover her lackluster defenses. Okay, so where is my? Oh, don't get DMC8, no. Yep. And here we go. This is the final tier list of the starting pairs of Age of Reality. Okay. You can use this as a general guide to play easy to play pair, and as you get better at the game, you can progress it down to the pairs that are very difficult to play, but equally as rewarding. Okay. This is Kaylee signing out. Go play Starscribed Age of Realities.